With the president now infected with the novel coronavirus, there isn't much in this election year that can be described as normal. But among the most abnormal is that a group of lifelong Republicans, political strategists for Republican candidates for the last 30 years, have banded together to mount a rogue offensive aimed at defeating the sitting president of their own party. They call themselves the Lincoln Project, named for the party of Lincoln, which they allege has gone so dangerously astray under President Donald Trump that they've decided to take the strategic and ad-making firepower they've trained for years on Democrats and turn it against their own. And the president's bout with COVID-19 is not slowing them down.
The story will continue in a moment.
How would you rate your response to this crisis?
I'd rate it a 10.
Some of the most gut-punching, bare-knuckled, and most widely viewed anti-Trump ads of this election season
Trump failed America.
have not come from the Biden campaign.
I'm a pro-life, gun-owning combat veteran.
They've come from the Lincoln Project, trying to convince fellow Republicans
he's a draft dodger-in-chief who despises the men and women he supposedly leads.
to elect a Democrat.
It's time for decency. It's time for Joe Biden.
Don't cry for me.
And this week they pounced with a biting ad.
The truth is, I will infect you.
A parody of the hit Evita that's gone viral.
I broke my promise. Won't keep my distance.
We are in a war for the soul of this country.
Steve Schmidt, one of the founders of the Lincoln Project, is a longtime Republican strategist who worked in the George W. Bush White House and ran John McCain's 2008 presidential campaign. How did serious Republicans decide to go rogue?
We all had a conviction that there are millions of Republicans who look at this debacle and reject it. And what we thought we could do is talk to those voters in the language and the iconography that they understand, connect with them and persuade them, many of them, to vote for the Democratic nominee for the first time in their lives.
Have you lost friends over this?
For sure, of course.
He launched the Lincoln Project Super PAC in December with 7 co-founders, including Rick Wilson, media consultant and ad maker for Republicans like Rudy Giuliani and Marco Rubio. Veteran Republican strategist John Weaver, who also worked with McCain and John Kasich. George Conway, conservative lawyer and husband of Kellyanne Conway, herself recently diagnosed with COVID-19, and Reed Galen, who worked on both George W. Bush's campaigns. Together, more than 200 years of Republican Party activism. Have you given up your careers?
None of us will ever work in Republican politics. Again, we joke that, like some of the explorers who came to the New World, they were incentivized by the captain when he burned the ships, that there was no return going back.
Working from their homes across the country, the Lincoln Project team likes nautical analogies. They call themselves a pirate ship, with Reed Galen helping chart their course.
We do not represent any candidate. We don't represent any campaign. We don't represent any political party. So it allows us a great deal of freedom. We sail the seas, and when the opportunity presents itself, we unfurl the Jolly Roger and go to town.
Ready for 4 more years.
These buccaneers have made a name for themselves with malicious attack ads, churning out new ones almost daily, most released cost-free on social media.
Good. Okay, ship it around to the group. Let's get an approval on it.
Okay.
Rick Wilson is in charge of the ads. Who are you aiming for? What kind of a voter?
So those independent-leaning men, those college-educated Republicans, the suburban Republican women, we understand where these voters are. We understand who they are and how they think. And Lesley, it's a game of small numbers. I mean, Donald Trump won this election by 77,000 votes in 3 states.
You basically have endorsed Joe Biden.
We have endorsed Joe Biden, yes.
It feels like, I'm sure, to the other Republicans, is a total betrayal.
Republicans can call us, betrayers of the faith all they want. We sleep well at night.
John Weaver feels it's the party that's betrayed him.
I mean, look, Lesley, we've gone from caring about character, rule of law, defending the Constitution, a cogent national security policy, free trade. Where are all those issues? Imagine if you travel the country for 30 years fighting for Republican principles and you learn it was all a lie. No one cares about all the issues that we fought for.
How painful is it for you to turn against the Republican Party? Do you ever sit around and talk about you're repudiating your life in a way?
Yeah, of course we do. I mean, we're busy, but there are moments of melancholy about it, no doubt.
It's morning again in America.
One of the most effective political ads ever was Ronald Reagan's Morning in America from 1984.
This afternoon.
In May, the Lincoln Project made a version that flipped the original on its head, adding the letter U to morning.
There's morning in America. Today, more than 60,000 Americans have died from a deadly virus Donald Trump ignored.
The day it was released, the ad got more than 500,000 views. Among them, the president, who unleashed a tweet storm at 12:46 a.m., calling the Lincoln Project losers.
Mr. President, do you want to make any comment about this Lincoln Project ad?
Yeah, no, I saw it. It's a group of major losers. They're Republican losers, and they should call it the Losers Project. Okay, thanks.
The president attacked all of us by name, called us losers, and we raised $2 million in 48 hours.
So he's helping you.
He bought us instant credibility.
And gave them a strategy.
Here's what Trump's own people are saying about him.
Create ads deliberately designed.
He's an idiot. John Kelly, Trump's chief of staff.
To get under the president's skin.
I don't think he's fit for office.
I have the most loyal people.
We have a standing by on Fox News in Washington, D.C., with Fox and friends Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity every night.
Is that because he watches? Or?
Yes, because we know he's in the residence with his Super TiVo watching.
Why is provoking him a good strategy?
Every time Donald Trump loses his mind and throws things at the wall because a Lincoln Project ad is up, that takes the whole campaign off track. There's one thing you never get back in a campaign, and that's a lost day.
Are you concerned that you're stooping to the president's level of being mean?
I hope so. There's always a reflexive sort of do-gooder instinct to say, oh, I hate negative ads. People do hate negative ads, but negative ads work.
What do you need in the short term? I need senior messaging for Florida.
Last month, the Lincoln Project got their staff tested for COVID and moved them from around the country into temporary headquarters in Utah.
One of the reasons we're here.
We joined them for their first TV interview as a group remotely. You're a pod. You're a bubble.
We're a pod.
You're like the NBA.
Yes, except not
Not
at
as
all.
tall or athletic.
Right.
If we're going to go in North Carolina, now's the time to do it because
Much of the focus here in the home stretch is on this team led by Mike Madrid, former political director of the California Republican Party. They run the day-to-day strategy and ad targeting in an expanding number of battleground states.
We've been focused like a laser beam on certain segments of the Republican electorate.
What about ads specifically for Republican women?
The one that analytically has proven the best is an ad called Memories, which is an ad that speaks to the loss of the normalcy of life during COVID.
These are the memories COVID took from us. A child's birthday.
We find that women move off of Donald Trump first, and then often their husband will follow behind them.
COVID has robbed America.
They're targeting COVID ads to seniors, too, while they say Morning in America continues to be effective with voters in hard-hit Rust Belt counties.
In the last year,
Military-themed ads work across the Republican spectrum, and they're playing up reports that the president called fallen soldiers losers and suckers.
I think that there is a play there for suburban moms.
With the help of data analysts, including one who'd worked in Major League Baseball,
it's certainly the least impactful.
They're trying to take advantage of a shift they're seeing in the Republican landscape.
The real dividing line in the Republican Party is between college-educated and non-college-educated voters. And what we're seeing is when Donald Trump starts to push messages like law and order or defends, the Confederate flags and Confederate monuments, he does seem to be able to coalesce a small number of non-college educated workers in the Rust Belt states, but at the same time, he's pushing white college educated workers in the Sun Belt states out of his column.
It's a reverse twist on the old Southern strategy where Republicans used racist appeals to attract white voters in the South, and they're trying to capitalize on it.
What we see in the South is more and more people in high-tech industries saying this is a politics that I reject.
So where are you most focused then? Are you focused in the North Rust Belt or in the Sun Belt?
Yes.
Yes.
This fall, the Lincoln Project.
And they're also focused on Republican senators, attacking them brutally on their fealty to President Trump.
Maine deserves a leader, not a Trump stooge.
I am all in.
They've spent more than $1.5 million just against Lindsey Graham.
We'll wait to the next election.
Lindsey Graham has told us who he is.
Attacking him for his flip-flop on filling the Supreme Court vacancy.
And you could use my words against me and you'd be absolutely right.
Don't be fooled. The Lincoln Project wasn't founded by principled conservatives.
The Lincoln Project has become a lightning rod for criticism from Trump allies.
What a nasty bunch of son of a guns.
For being traitors, mercenaries, for taking large donations from Democrats, and in this just to maintain their relevance. And I'm going to quote, "They're failed strategists who are doing this for the money."
The easiest way in the world for a Republican strategist to make money right now is to shut up and say nice things about Donald Trump. So clearly we're in the wrong line of work.
But they've also drawn fire from some on the left for their own role in creating the Republican politics they now decry. Do you bear any responsibility, you personally, for bringing the country to where it is?
When I look at the party and I see what it's become, I think that I was naive about how deeply embedded the racism issue was in the party.
Do you feel at all that you're making amends?
And in all politics, you can look back on things with honor or regret or what have you. I think I'll look back on this. I think all of us will look back on this as something we did in the cause of the country.
They've raised more than $60 million thus far.
Write that out.
And they're convinced that if they get just 4% of Republicans to switch sides, they'll succeed in their goal of defeating Donald Trump. What about the insult that everything you're doing is just playing to the choir? You're just reaching Trump haters. They already hate him.
I think that we have hurt him, we have cut him, we have defined him, we have provoked him. There was not a glove proverbially laid on him for a really long time. And I think we're amongst the first groups to effectively do that.
Well, you know, you say that, and he still has 90% of the Republicans, every poll you see. He could win.
Well, sure. Yeah. Of course he could. Donald Trump could win. This is why, we don't sleep a lot and why we're constantly pushing to expand our envelope, because you can't take chances with Donald Trump. We're not out of this fight till the fight is done.
Who is the voice behind the Lincoln Project's viral social media posts? Go to 60minutesovertime.com.